Hi everyone, and welcome to the CASA Overseas Trip Experiences event. I'm so excited to have you all here today. My name is Grace and I'm one of CASA's lead educators. And this session is all about sharing the incredible experiences that some of our fellow students have had during their time overseas study trips. You'll hear first-hand stories from our amazing panelists who will share their stories, insights, tips, and some of the highs and challenges they encountered. So I'd like to introduce our panellists for the event. We've got Sam, Maya, Ellie and Harrison. Sam, can you please tell us where you went and what unit it was?
So I'm Sam, nice to meet you, and I went to South Korea for 3 weeks on an NCP tour, and the unit was XINO International 3000.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Maya. I went to Singapore for 3 weeks on the Work 2025 tour.
Hello, my name's Ellie and I went to Japan and it was in conjunction with the 20th and 21st Century Theories unit.
Yep. And I'm Harry. I went to Singapore for 3 months as part of, I think it's special topics in urban and regional planning. It was a woodworking unit I did.
Awesome. So now that we've met our panellists, it's time for each of them to take us through their individual overseas experiences. First up, we have Sam. Sam, can you please tell us about your trip to South Korea and what you learned during your time there?
So we went to South Korea, and the gnosis of the trip was to learn about smart cities and urban planning mostly. We went to IFES, which was Incheon's information center, and we went to TOPIS, which was the transport center, and we discovered that almost 1.5 million CCTV cameras over the which was spread across the country, controlled the free flow of society, basically. Actually,
Any key highlights that you could pull out from memory?
Other than tours that we were allocated to go on, we also had free time, quite ample free time actually, and we got to really immerse ourselves in the culture and the people, especially with food, and we went on hanbok experience, which is traditional Korean outfits, and we went to the palace, and we got to see both modern and historical architecture, which was quite fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right, and Maya, can you tell us about your experience?
So my experience was focused on the 18 key sustainability movements that Singapore is trying to implement, and it's a kind of a coming across on an international field as well. So these sustainability concepts focus on everything from climate change and global warming to social sustainability, human welfare, good drinking water, all those kinds of things. So there are 18 topics, and that's what all of our assignments in the study tour were based upon. So we had all of the tours. So Curtin organised a bunch of tours when we were over there looking. So we explored the Curtin University campus in Singapore. We visited Malaysia to go to film studios. We looked at sustainable rooftop farming that Singapore is starting to implement based on their climate, and we also we did numerous things like that. In addition, we had ample free time where we got to explore everything that related to our interests. So I did a lot of food tours, as in just roamed the cities. We also did a lot of cultural events. As we were there in January, we got to experience the Lunar Chinese Lunar New Year, which was very exciting because that was a huge cultural festival. And we also got to experience numerous art galleries and art functions. My trip wasn't architectural centric, so it had everyone from all of the disciplines at Curtin, which was very interesting because when it came to working on these group assessments, you had to work with people who weren't architecture students on what was, in my case, an architectural project. So that was a very informative experience in itself. It was a very, very good experience.
Yeah, very nice. All right, now on to you, Ellie.
So I went to Japan and it was for a 4-week, 4-week trip, sorry, and so the trip was based on the 20th and 21st century theory unit, and so we had to complete an assignment while we were there. So we were kind of researching and finding things for the assignment whilst we were there. And I guess it was an architectural tour, so we really just walked around the cities. We went to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka and Nagoya, and every day we would be going to some pretty cool buildings. Annette Candello took us on that, and she really planned out where we were going to go and which buildings we were going to see. We saw some famous ones, very famous ones, and yeah, it was a really good experience.
Great. Awesome. Okay, on to you, Harrison.
Yep. So, like Maya, I also went to Singapore, but instead of it being a study tour, it was more for work placement. So as part of my final part of undergrad, just go over, do that work placement, then I could start masters.
Yep.
So in those 3 months, I definitely learned a lot more than 3 years in undergrad did. Just working, you learn so much, you're exposed to so many different things, and you sort of learn how to work with people. I think it was also me learning to live by myself, live out of home, because that was the first time I'd done that. It was a very eye-opening experience, I guess, because being there, working, it was really cool, but it was also like a lot of these trips, there's lots of free time and finding things to do there, making new routines. It was really interesting, yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. So now that we've heard from everyone, we'll do a Q&A now from all the questions that fellow students have sent us on CASA's Instagram. So this is for anyone who can answer. So who can I contact about applying?
So with these different trips, they'll usually be advertised through usually Anne Clochety. I always forget her name, I'm really sorry, but on Blackboard you should see an announcement for it. So that's why you need to check your emails so you can apply for them. Different tutors will run different things. So for example, at the end of the year there's Korea, which is run one by Chris, one by Parisa, and there's also, I believe, Indonesia, which has been run by Justin. They'll usually send out emails and it's up to you to get in contact with them. If you really want to try and go somewhere, there are some tutors who you can try and talk to, as a lot of this really comes down to who do they know? Do they know someone at this place that can get you into this place? That applies to both the study tours, which could include just similar to what Maya did, which is going around the city and going to different conferences, or even exchanges, because I know some students did, I think it was 6 months with Toyo in Japan most recently. Or if you want to do a work placement, it really just comes down to who you know and kind of how you can you just apply from there.
Yeah.
Additionally, a lot of those guild orientation days have many stalls that focus on all the different international study tours. So that's where I learnt about mine personally. So I was walking through the stall and someone happened to grab me out of the crowd. So which was nice.
Good,
got myself a trip out of Singapore too. But so those are always really, really good if you're not sure what to apply to. So those are what I would recommend too.
Awesome, thank you. All right, next question is tips on adjusting to a new environment. Anyone?
For me, I just walk around during my free time, just go to place, see what's there, and then just talk to people there. For me, I'm a card game nerd, so I hit up a bunch of card game shops, talk to people there, and that's how I made friends. That's how I sort of adjusted and made routines. Also just talking to people who you're paired up with, because in all the things, be it a workplace or a study tour, you'll probably get paired up with someone local for that, and then you can start talking to them and sort of I guess branch out from there, because you'll finally know people over there.
Yeah.
Be aware of all the cultural differences and customs when you do travel to a new place. When I went to Singapore is very different culturally to Australia, because it is a lot more of a strict environment. So that's something you just need to be aware of before traveling, so you act in the proper manner. It's not it's not something to be scared of. It's just a different experience that you need to be accustomed to. And once again, you're traveling with a group. Well, my one was traveling with a group of people, so everyone is in the same boat. So you're all going to have these first experiences together. So it's not something you should be worried about, but rather something you should embrace that change and new experience.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, What advice would you give to students who are about to embark on their own overseas trip? Is there something you wish you had known before you went?
I guess, well, for me, when I went, I didn't actually know any of the other students going. Probably the same for you, yeah. So it's quite nerve-wracking, I guess, but I think you just have to relax and know that you're going to make friends and that it is actually all going to be okay. You just have to really lean into it, I think, and just let yourself have fun, because, you know, you're not going to have the opportunity again, probably, in your lifetime, so.
Yeah.
And once again, everyone's in the same boat. Majority of people you will meet at the airport before your flight.
Yeah.
But some tours have the chance for you guys to create like messenger group chats or meet each other beforehand. So that's something also, if you are anxious about that, go to those events, because everyone is.
Yeah. That's
For
good.
us, so one of the other students made a group chat on WhatsApp, and everyone got on there and uploaded a picture of ourselves, introduced ourselves, and then we kind of just like contacted each other, like, how are you planning for this? What are you packing? Have you gotten your money yet or anything? So
Money is a
Yeah,
good thing to
money.
prepare for as well. Yeah.
definitely have cash on you, because not everywhere do they take card as well.
Yeah.
We experienced that, especially when we went to like flea markets and stuff.
Yeah. Which is where you really experience the culture of the place you're discovering, so definitely go to them.
Even some other places, we went to Spa-land in Busan, and they didn't take international card, which was quite questionable considering it's a tourism area. But definitely have cash on you and have ample of it.
Good. Okay, that's a good note to remember. Okay, so how has your overseas trip influenced your academic or career goals since returning? And can you share a specific example?
Sure. So I think like for me, like it really like I before that I'd done like pretty much all my studios for undergrad. I knew like I thought I knew a lot. Like I knew how to do things in the way I normally would do, but getting exposed to like a different like work environment, seeing how they did it better, I learned a bunch of different skills, ways that I initially do stuff I like improved upon and learned how they did it, and that was a really good way of like stepping up my skill sets and sort of like working to my different strengths, and from that I can apply to different things. And I guess also more of a way they start like laying things out, like designing, like I just sort of like took aspects from that instead of like doing it like I guess kind of like haphazardly like during undergrad, where I just like draw things and sort of just like have like function follows form, was more like the figuring out how to blend like function form together rather than one like taking over the other.
Yeah. Interesting.
For me, because not everyone was an architecture student in my tour, it was working with people who didn't understand architecture. So for our final project, we actually did end up designing a building, but I was working with myself, an architecture student, an education student, a theatre student, and a physio student. So like completely different disciplines, but we had to work together and all input our own different abilities and skill sets in order to create this final project. So that was really important to me, and that's something that I have brought back for all my current group projects, is that everyone does have something to contribute to the group. It's just a matter of all talking and communicating it through so you can create a good project.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay. Next question is, okay, what did you learn which helped improve your next studio project? So this could be second year studio or third year studio, for example.
For me, it was context, context assignments. So in Singapore, when we were looking at these different sustainability goals, one thing that drew my attention was their lack of physical space compared to their population. So I looked at how they've developed like skyscrapers with vegetation garden and like vegetable gardens at the top of them that then meets also their climate control issues. So it was a matter of that's something that is based on their context, whilst also social context. Like they design spaces for different uses than we would because of the different types of society that we have. So that was something important, something that I've taken into Studio 6.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, okay. All right, this is interesting. So are 3D modelling software skills essential overseas? So Rhino, Revit, SketchUp, for example?
They're definitely like good to have because like obviously like when you go over there you need to be able to like do work or else it's kind of awkward, but at the same time you don't need to be able to like do everything. Like you are like a lot of the time just like an undergrad student, you're not expected to like know everything. You've only been doing this for like a couple of years. And that's why one of the things I was saying before is like I learned a lot more over there because I'd learn how they do things over there, and I'd get like pushed like, hey, can you try doing this, can you try doing that? And I think that really like helped with my like skill set development. I figured out like a lot more things because of that. Because I was like pushed to do it.
Definitely.
Like you can definitely like it's good to know like some sorts of softwares because like different firms will use different things. For example, the firm I was at, they used ArchiCAD a lot, so I hadn't really like used ArchiCAD, but I learned from it, and there was still like a bunch of other jobs I could still do without that ArchiCAD experience using like all the Adobe stuff, Rhino, SketchUp, CAD. There's still a lot you can do.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, as Harrison said, it's a learning experience. You're not expected to be perfect at every software. They're going to help you no matter what. So don't be scared to apply just because your software skills aren't like perfection.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and the next thing was, what was something that you forgot to bring on your study tour?
Okay, so this wasn't for Singapore, but this is for like another one in Malaysia in 2019. I remember we landed, I was like going through my stuff because we just got there, we're all like tired. I was going through and went, damn, I forgot pajamas.
Oh my god.
So that was like funny. So I had to like, because we were staying in this like bougie hotel as well, so like everything was expensive, so I had to like wander around, try and find something in Kuching that was like cheap. And yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I would bring, just in case, would be a first aid kit because I get swollen feet from traveling, and I had swollen feet on the first day, and I did almost over like 10,000 steps, even on the first day, right after we landed, and I had swollen feet for the entire trip, for the entire 3 weeks, and I did not have crepe bandage to like wrap it and like decrease the swelling or anything. So I just took painkillers every single day and I just pulled through. So definitely bring a med kit just in case.
Yeah.
And bring your medication generally.
Yeah, and medication.
But I found, look at your itinerary because you do so many different activities. We did everything from swimming to hiking to exploring an island to networking events where you had to be dressed very formally. So just be ready for that switch because that can be done within like 2 hours. You're doing those 2 events. So just come prepared for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Fully prepared.
All right. Can I be an exchange student to another architecture university?
Yes. So I think it'll depend on the university because different universities will allow different things. For example, I know like Toyo has a grant for Curtin for students to go over, but that only applies to undergrad. And it'll depend on what units you have. Like pretty much to go over there, you'll do some units over there that can be credited over here, similar to if you like did units at a different university in Australia, it'd work the same way. You do learning over there and that'd get credited over to here.
Yeah.
So you can definitely like do that for different universities. It's just like whichever ones Curtin really has like strong like ties with.
Yeah. No, that's good. And can it count towards my overall credits?
Yes, so these are always attached to a unit. So for my one, the special topics in urban regional planning, that was its own unit, and I sort of like we just never like submitted the final assessment until like I'd done Singapore, so that was all part of that one. However, I guess like yours was part of was in place of the work placement unit. You just did that instead.
So it means with this semester, instead of doing 4 units, I'm only doing 3 because my international trip counted for 25 credits. So I only have to do 3 units this semester, which is nice. Nice sort of break.
Same. I'm also on 3 units because mine was a tri-semester trip.
Exactly.
So it was accounted for my semester 2 unit. My 4th unit was that one. Mine's also actually credited for work 3000.
Okay.
It's just it was replaced, and the new name was XINO 3000
Yeah.
instead.
Mine's credited for Work 3000 as
Yeah.
well.
But I've got
Okay.
2 Work 3000s because of my specialisation as well.
Mm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
Very nice.
Another trip, I guess.
Another
Yeah.
trip. Planning already.
Yeah. All right, and I'll do one more question. What was the most surprising or unexpected experience you had during your overseas trip, and how did it impact you?
Which ones could I share?
Any?
That sounds awfully dodgy.
That was
Just
can I read the question
think
again?
fast.
Yeah.
What's the question?
What was the most surprising or unexpected experience you had overseas, and
Okay.
how did it impact you?
Okay, this is a very Singapore specific one, but like the smell of durian. Before I used to like hate it, and now I'm just like, it's kind of like normal. And then also like, sometimes like I accidentally like switch to like a Singaporean accent when I talk to Singaporeans because I just sort of like pick up on it and I sort of like start just using it as well. So that happens a lot when I like play card games when people come over from like Singapore and Malaysia. I sort of just like start like mimicking it. Yeah.
For me, I think because I had just finished my first year when I went on this trip, I met so many architecture students who were in their 3rd and 4th year. So I'm still friends with them now, and they can still assist me with everything from software to like giving me feedback on my work. So just the friendships that I made were really, really good, and even people from different disciplines. Like you generally become a really interlinked community, and even now I get a message being like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" or "They'll help me with that." So that was really, really important, but especially the architecture and interior architecture students.
Yeah, that's good. All right, and that's basically all we have for today. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And you might have noticed in the background we had other students who unfortunately couldn't be here with us today, but provided us with their photos from their trips as well. So thank you very much, and good luck on your next adventure. Thank you.
Grace. Thank you, Grace.